The chance to shape your future is here. Learn and connect with exciting new opportunities. Are you ready for the next step?
Hi, good morning and welcome. My name is Alex Mees. I am the sales lead at the National Digital Exploitation Centre, or shortened to the NDEC, and I'm joined by Lisa Cornford, who is the NDEC trainer, and Holly, who is the NDEC education lead. So today what we're going to do is just run through a short presentation, provide you with an overview of what we do at THALES, of the NDEC Centre, but more importantly, how we can support businesses through a number of services that we offer, including training, etc. So I will just start the presentation, bear with me. Okay, so yeah, just a little bit about THALES first of all. So THALES is a French company that deals in both civil and defence around cybersecurity. We work in a number of sectors, including things like aerospace, ground transportation, and land air systems. We have 80,000 employees worldwide, over 68 different countries. And we also invest heavily in self-funded R&D projects as well, just to ensure that our services align with current requirements, worldwide in terms of technology. So onto the NDEC and what that stands for. So as I said, it's the National Digital Exploitation Centre, and that's a joint funded project between THALES and the Welsh Government, which officially opened last year. It's essentially a cyber centre of excellence focused on digital transformation, specifically in the operational technology and automation sector. So they were both, considering this project, they were both primary benefits for Wales and for THALES. So in terms of for Wales, the centre provides a space for research and development for THALES, looking at a number of projects through collaborations with universities and other organisations and partners. I think cybersecurity is growing massively in Wales, and the NDEC, aims to be a flagship site for that, in terms of providing support to local businesses and providing solutions to large organisations when it comes to cybersecurity as well. And of course, then it's obviously the generating that skilled workforce, looking at employability, employment opportunities. A large company like THALES coming into Wales, it not only increases opportunities for local workers, but it also sets an example for larger organisations to follow suit, hopefully creating more jobs in the future. So the NDEC is actually based on 4 pillars. The first pillar is around education, and I'm not going to go into too much detail around this at the moment, as Harley is probably going to do a much better job of explaining that than I will. The second pillar we have is advanced cyber, which focuses on the work we do in terms of research and development. And we also support a number of PhD students, as well as employee apprentices to not only the NDEC, but wider THALES as well. So one of the key pillars that we've got is around the work we do in our cyber lab, specifically focusing on, as I said, operational technology, automation, and industrial control systems. One of the key capabilities within that cyber lab is our cyber range, which allows companies to emulate their network infrastructure in a safe and secure environment, whilst looking at ways, in which THALES can support those to make it more cyber resilient. I think the one unique thing around about our cyber lab, the cyber range at the NDEC, is that we have the ability to actually connect physical equipment, enabling us to expose that vulnerability and show the customer firsthand what could happen if they did fall victim to a cyber attack. And then the last one we have here is around projects, and as part of our commitment to Welsh Government, we're dedicated in supporting small businesses within Wales on their journey. And we've actually developed a number of core services that I'll go on to a little bit later as well. But I'll pass over to Holly just to go a bit more into the education piece.
Hi, so like Alex said, I'm Holly Lidbury and I'm the education lead at the NDEC. And I'm just going to go a bit more in depth about what we're actually doing in that pillar of work. So like Alex has explained, the NDEC itself is about supporting digitalisation within the region through cybersecurity. And then the education and outreach stream sits within that to address the associated skills requirements of that growth throughout the region. And in line with that, we carry out activities across South East Wales. And there's the two aspects. One, we're looking to increase people who are undertaking employment or study in the cyber sector, so creating that talent pipeline as the skills gaps increase. And then the second aspect is helping people to develop the cyber awareness to protect themselves and or their organisation. So this is really around kind of general cyber upskilling for individuals, and SMEs is kind of what our work is limited to under the education pillar. Alex, would you mind going to the next slide, please? So our main activities which work towards achieving these objectives are to increase the number of people who are aware of or interested in cyber. So kind of the first thing we do is actually raising the profile of it as a potential employment route in the area. Then we try to convert those people into having intention to actually enter the industry. So this is really about signposting people to routes and kind of holding people's hand into the industry and into opportunities. And then that third principle is around actually maximising the number of opportunities available. So like Alex said before, you know, THALES is there to set an example to other companies about employing in this region, but we're also looking at diversifying the routes into the industry. So THALES have recently worked with two other employers, Admiral and Fujitsu, to develop the Cyber College Cymru concept, where they're working with two local colleges to enhance the BTEC IT curriculum. So that's one opportunity. We also work in conjunction with the University of South Wales on the education work stream. So it's looking at degree apprenticeship opportunities with them and other workplace routes like apprenticeship pathways, and looking at developing those sorts of things. So we're actually kind of widening the pathways into the industry. Next slide. So this is just a bit of a collage of pictures of some of the things that we do at school level to kind of support those first two principles of promoting the industry and signposting pathways into the industry. So, you know, we do anything from kind of bespoke lessons with schools to large scale events. You can see in the bottom left corner our work with Go Connect, which is a program for people who are not in employment, education or training. So our work is not specifically it's not completely with schools, a large percentage is, but we also work with community organisations. We've also had bespoke cyber games created for that engagement work. We work very closely with the National Cybersecurity Centre. You can see in the bottom right corner the winners or the semi-finalists from last year's girls competition. So it's really about working collaboratively with other organisations as well to try and do that promotional work. And then at the top, you can see our work with the Brownies. So there really is that full spectrum of ages that we work with. You know, that was a group of 5 to 7-year-olds. And then, you know, we're also doing CPD for Coleg Gwent lecturers, as you can see with one of those cyber games near the middle. Do you want to go to the next slide, Alex? So this is just to give you an idea of some of the companies, organisations and academic institutions that we've collaborated with over the last year or so, is what I really want to stress is that what we're doing really wouldn't be possible without that collaborative effort, because ultimately it is about making these opportunities visible to people, and by working with these organisations we're able to do that. We're able to show them real life roles, real life opportunities. We do, as I said before, work closely with the National Cybersecurity Centre's Cyber First programme. I'm an ambassador for that programme, and I'm able to sign businesses up to that programme. There's certain benefits that you get from it around access to graduates, placements and that sort of thing. But you know, it really, really does help having role models from business collaborate on our outreach events, you know, both for the business and the students involved. So if there's anyone listening who would like to be involved in this educational outreach program in some way, then please do get in touch with us, you know, whether that's through the Cyber First program or, you know, through opportunities with ourselves. That would be brilliant. You know, anything from as small as wanting to attend an event with a stall to providing a mentorship opportunity. There's a real range of what you can do to get involved. That's about it from me. If you want to go back to your stuff, Alex.
Yep, no problem at all. Thank you very much, Holly. Yeah, so this next slide basically is just gives you an overview of the Ebervale site currently and how that looks and what our plans are over the next year. So on the left-hand side, you can see we have the NDEC where we are currently based. At the moment, it houses our cyber range and our customer experience suite, along with some office space as well. But yeah, primarily at the moment, obviously, this is where we host visitors, taking them on a cybersecurity journey. Hybrid 1 will essentially be an upgraded version of the customer experience suite, where we'll try and make the whole experience more interactive, making cybersecurity a lot more visual and taking customers and visitors, as I said, on a journey with interactive walls, etc., LED screens with information and the history of Ebervale and the Tech Valleys project as well. So this building will also house our education workspace as well, allowing school children to undertake different cybersecurity related projects as well. Hybrid 2 is a building that at the moment we don't necessarily have any plans for. We will be taking ownership of it, but there are a number of opportunities in the future that we have a number of projects that we're looking to occupy that area. Hybrid 3 will be home to our OT test benches. So in keeping with trying to make cybersecurity more interactive and real life, we're developing a number of attack scenarios specific to certain industries. And these test benches will have physical equipment connected directly into the cyber range, allowing us to simulate cyber attacks in a synthetic and secure environment, which the cyber range provides. And I guess, yeah, the purpose of these scenarios really is to highlight the detrimental impact to an organization if they became susceptible to any sort of cyber attacks or any threat actors, using the physical equipment to provide that context to their specific center. Also within Hybrid 3, we're also looking to develop a capability focused on secure and resilient connectivity between charging infrastructure, connected autonomous vehicles, and physical infrastructure, looking at the extra demand that will more likely be put on the power grid with the introduction of more and more electric vehicles. So again, those are projects that we're hoping to start within the coming months as well, around those test beds. So now I'll go on to the core services. As I mentioned, the NDEC has developed these services aimed at supporting SMEs on their digital journey. These services come at little to no cost and are designed to equip businesses with the skills and knowledge that they need, essentially, to keep up with the fast-moving pace of the digital world. So first here we have the digital security evaluations. Now I think a business can only have confidence in their digital cyber resilience if they're able to actually take a holistic view of what they have. This means that their people, their networks and their products must all play some part in ensuring the overall security of the business. The NDEC is able to offer some support by either conducting something like a business or product security evaluation, which would include things like a vulnerability assessment, where we could essentially identify any weaknesses within your infrastructure and provide recommendations on the best resolutions and mitigating actions. Then we have the cloud and IT transformation. So many businesses may not have the skills or personnel required to make IT or OT investment decisions. And the one good thing about the NDEC is it acts as a shop front into the wider THALES. And we have access to a number of experts who can provide you with the experienced advice that you require on how best to take advantage of this digital transformation world and where to start, basically. We can also work with you and your business to provide a customized report, again, with recommendations on the best course of actions. So, recommendations could include things like moving to a cloud-based IT service or looking further into software as a service packages. So this next one we have is around the digital security and cyber awareness training. So we've created a versatile training program of what we call a non-deep technical nature to essentially upskill any non-technical individuals or organizations with the knowledge and skill that they need to protect themselves and their businesses, of course, from cyber threats and threat actors in the future. So I'm going to pass over to Lisa now, who can go give a bit more information as to the types of things that we do in this training.
Thanks, Alex. Hello, so I'm Lisa Cornford. I'm the NDEC trainer. I am currently leading on the SME training for NDEC as part of the Education and Skills project. As this is a fairly new work stream, we have delivered a few training sessions already to local businesses, but at the moment, our main focus is to scope out the cyber needs for SMEs or startup businesses, which we can then feed into our new strategy and final offerings, what we can offer. So as part of this research, there is currently a live survey, and you can either scan the QR code or click the link, which I think will be in the chat bar shortly. So this will help us gain a better understanding of how SMEs adopt cybersecurity within their business and see if there's any current gaps or what you're looking for, what SMEs are looking for from us to help you with your cybersecurity. So if you could spare a couple of minutes of your time to fill out the survey, it would be a great help to us. Thank you. We are also really interested in having discussions with businesses to figure out what is needed. So if you did want to get in touch with us, please do. We can have a discussion on how we can help you. Next slide, please, Alex.
There you go.
Thank you. So as part of the education stream for the NDEC, we're offering basic cybersecurity awareness in line with the NCSC guidelines. So some of the topics we have covered are password security. So how to, or what is a secure password, phishing awareness. So how to notice phishing emails, as well as explaining social engineering. Next slide, please. So I'm going to give you a little taster of what we offer as part of our training, and just to make you aware that this is all fully funded. So any training that we provide to you is free of charge under the education stream. So a taster of what we offer. What is social engineering? a lot of people don't understand what social engineering is. So social engineering is a clever manipulation of natural human tendency to trust. So unfortunately, as humans, our natural instinct is to trust people and believe in what we see. And that makes us the weakest link when it comes to security. So social engineering is one of the most powerful tools for cybercriminals, with their aim to get your username and your passwords or to trick you into installing malware. Next slide, please. So a bit of history on social engineers. So social engineering has been around for many, many years. As you can see, 2 examples I like to use is one from early 20th century and another gentleman from the 1960s. So the man who sold the Eiffel Tower, Victor Lustig, if that's really his name. People were never sure if that was his actual name, but he used many different social engineering tactics, including his charming ways. He was a very well-educated person, and he could charm anyone into believing what he was saying. He'd get their trust, and he would spend hours upon days, weeks, just scanning through newspapers, looking for new ideas for his next scam. The one day he came across, they wanted to sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap because the French government couldn't afford to maintain it. Well, this was his latest scam, and he ended up doing it twice. He convinced governments around Europe to buy the Eiffel Tower for scrap. Yeah, and he'd done that twice. The second time he did get caught and ended up in Alcatraz prison. The second gentleman, which you most probably recognise the name, Frank Abagnale. You're most probably familiar with his story from the Hollywood movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks in Catch Me If You Can. So in the 1960s, Frank convinced an airline company, along with many others, that he was a commercial pilot. He was using many social engineering tactics along with his charming ways, and he was able to gather information such as their policies, procedures, events, and even industry terminology. So just words they would use, pilot talk, or how they would talk to each other. He learned all that. And with that knowledge, and even purchased a pilot's uniform, he was able to fly free around the world. As well as using this knowledge, he learned the airline's bank processes to cash fraudulent checks. So he got to see the world, wasn't really a pilot, and was making money as well. So if a social engineer looks, acts, and sounds the part, they're very likely to have a high chance people will take them at face value and not even question them any further. Which, if you watch some of Frank's talks, he does a lot of talks on cybersecurity and social engineering. He always says that people never questioned him because he was so convincing, because he'd learned and gained all the knowledge over the years that he believed it himself half the time that he was who he was saying he was. Next slide, please. So how does social engineering work? So these are the stages of an attack. So a social engineer or cybercriminal, it's not a quick attack for them to gain money. They tend to gather as much information, and an attack does take a long time and patience. So they will have a lot of patience when carrying out a social engineering attack. It's a long process, and it includes research. So again, like I spoke about the 2 previously, they will spend a lot of time going through your social engineering, your social media posts, trying to find as much information as they can. They will browse all accounts, so Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, finding key information that could lead them successfully to guessing your password. So this information could include anything personal to you. So children's names, pets' names, special dates like anniversaries, birthdays, your favourite holiday destination, even information like if you're going on holiday, they can use that to their advantage as well. So they won't just stop there, they will also build a profile on who your friends are, who your family are, and your work colleagues as well, and they will use all this as part of their social engineering attack. So with the advice I give you for if you use social media, is always check your privacy settings, because if there's an update, your privacy settings can change. Make sure that they're always private. Obviously this don't stop them getting a lot of information, but it can help. So the next stage is planning. So once they've gathered all the information, they will use that information to select what mode of attack and design a strategy. So how they're going to socially engineer you. So are they going to do it through your works, or are they going to befriend you online or out in the street? If they know which pub you go to, they could turn up and befriend you there. So yeah, so they will, the planning stage is how they're going to carry out the attack. Once this is done, they will then execute their plan to get your information. So the attacker will carry out the attack. They will either they could send an email or use other online channels. In some forms of social engineering, attackers actively interact with their victims. In other, the kill chain is automated, typically activated by the user clicking on a link to visit the malicious website or execute malicious code, which obviously then could put malware onto your computer or could harvest your credentials. So that's the stages of a social engineering attack. We could have the next slide, please. So you might have already seen this video, but I like it because it does show how easy you can give your password out to people without realizing. Yes, how easy it is to conduct a social engineering attack, or just with general chit chat. Is there any sound?
No, it's not coming through.
Alex, are you unmuted?
Sorry? It seems to be working for me.
Oh, I can't hear anything.
Okay. I'll have to skip past that one and potentially put the link into the chat.
Okay, sorry about that. So yes, if you've got any questions about anything that I've covered today, or if you have any ideas on how we can help SMEs or local businesses, please get in touch. And again, if you wouldn't mind filling out our survey, that would be great. And yeah, please get in touch. My email or on Twitter. You can contact me either way. Thank you very much. Okay, over to Alex. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks, Lisa. And yeah, I think it is important, you know, when it comes to these threat actors and the links that they'll go to, in terms of trying to get access to your information. Especially what we're trying to do here at the NDEC is create those scenarios, as I mentioned, to make them as real as possible. So, for example, we've got one scenario. Again, these are based around operational technology and automation. However, I think they can be used in any environment. And one of the scenarios we have is data being transferred from a USB stick, which has an active instance of WannaCry on it. And it'll go to the first computer, which is a Windows 10 computer, you know, in the HR office, for example, which is protected against WannaCry. But then, if that same USB stick was to go to one of the engineers on the power plant or a manufacturing plant on a Windows 7 laptop, for example, that may not be actually protected. Then they would be susceptible to that. Now, I don't know if anyone is aware of WannaCry, but it was what the attack back a few years ago that I think got hold of around about 19 million NHS England records. So again, what we do at the NDEC is it's around visualizing that we actually have an active case of WannaCry where we can actually show how it propagates once it manages to get into the system, how it manages to propagate from if you don't have the correct firewalls or protection in place, how it propagate from one system into the other and effectively, you know, close down a whole site. So again, it's just the whole point of the NDEC, you know, and the training that we provide is trying to make it as real as possible. So the last core services I wanted to leave to the last is it's the more open one. It's around the trusted partner network. So the NDEC intends to build this trusted partner network of Welsh businesses to ensure safe trade and collaboration, encouraging growth in the Welsh digital sector, and really forming that non-commercial business consortium. So through our engagement with local SMEs, we'd like to be in a position to say that if we can't help you, then, you know, we've had enough conversations with other businesses and organizations that we'd be able to point you, you know, in the right direction of someone who may be able to. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of the services that that the NDEC can offer. And as I said, these are free of charge services that we offer as part of our commitment to the Welsh Government and supporting local businesses. So I'm more than happy to have any conversations. You know, as I said, if it's not something that we could directly help you with, hopefully it would be somewhere I'd be able to point you in the direction of someone who can, whether it be a university or other schemes similar to what we're doing. But as I said, I'm more than happy to have those conversations in the meantime and understand exactly what your requirements are and how we can potentially help on that journey. So this next slide, I just thought I'd put together a few examples of the work that we've done at the moment. So the first one we have is Protect, and they're a company based in Swansea, and they have developed a mouthguard that they're currently using in rugby to monitor the impact of, monitor the impact of head impacts from the side of the pitch, and whether, you know, they need to make the decision to take that player off. Definitely more relevant recently when you hear of rugby players, you know, with early onset dementia, etc. I think this technology will be massive, and it's already been used by the likes of Ospreys and a few other clubs in the English Premiership as well. Now, what we've actually done, we've actually taken that technology, and this was published in the Engineer magazine, but we've taken that technology and we're currently looking at ways through our self-funded research and development. We're looking at ways in which we can potentially use that in a military environment. So whether that could be riot police or soldiers on the front line, and actually assessing the impact that they get from breaching a door and things like that. So yeah, that's still early stages in terms of that, but it's very exciting anyway. Another one we have is Owen Collective. Now, Owen Collective are a cybersecurity SME based in South Wales as well, and we helped them back last year. They actually used our cyber range facilities to promote their own products in the OT environment, and we just helped them, as I said, promote that to their own customers as well. Torfaen Leisure Trust, we've been working with them recently, especially through the COVID pandemic. And we've actually provided, if you were to go to Cwmbran Stadium, we've provided them with some thermal imaging cameras, whereby that you wouldn't necessarily need the handheld thermometers, you would just walk up to the screen and it'd be able to tell you what your internal temperature was at that point. And obviously, if it was over, if you had a high temperature, then they'd be able to refuse entry, etc., making it more important at the moment, considering that Cwmbran is actually one of the vaccine centres. And then last, we have Drone Evolution, who are another SME based in Caerphilly. And we've been working with Toby and his team for the last few months. They've done some work on the building in terms of photography, but we're also looking at ways in which we can actually protect, help them develop some of their own products as well from a digital security perspective as well. So as I said, I just wanted to give you an overview really of the type of work that we're doing. There are others that I can mention that we're working with a digital tape media company at the moment who dispose of old digital tapes and the media on them, and we're looking at ways in which we can we're actually doing a digital security evaluation on the portal that they're using at the moment. As I said, these are the types of conversations that we're having daily with customers and organizations. And as I said, just reach out and by all means we'll see what we can do. And lastly, again, here's just some of the projects that we do, not just through the NDEC, but globally and through the UK as well. So we've done work with EDF Energy on their engineering services and their legacy systems. Another one here we have is Enclave as well, where we're just starting to do some projects around at the moment. I mentioned AWEN. We've got a overarching agreement with Williams and Insergo, Kerry Group, etc. So that is pretty much it. And I think now, if I just stop sharing, I'll see if we have any questions. Lisa and Holly, if you're still there.
If there's anyone who's interested in getting involved with education work in any way, please drop your contact details into the chat and I can get in touch with you. Yeah,
and the one thing I will do, Natasha, if you wouldn't mind putting this on the chat, is just providing my email address as well, because I forgot to put it on the slides. So that's there, but we'll wait a few minutes to see whether anything comes in, and then we'll leave it there. Is Holly or Lisa, is there anything else that you wanted to add? Obviously, I know that we're trying to get the survey. I think that is really important. Is getting that survey, because we want to be able to actually tailor the packages of training that we deliver, and we want them to be contextual and tailored to what business want.
Yeah, that's what we've done with previous businesses. We've sat down with them, had meetings and asked them what they're looking for. So one business, they just wanted basic cybersecurity that can help their employees in their personal life as well as at work as well. So yeah, that was with the social engineering and passwords. So yeah, we will do what you want, really.
Yeah, and it will be feeding into kind of a report and our strategy going forward. So if there's anyone who kind of wants to contribute to that, maybe you've got some ideas on what businesses need in terms of that cyber training, then also, we'd be happy to have a discussion.
Yeah, I think nothing's set in stone, is it? And we're able to look at it on an individual basis. We can start off with the basics of cybersecurity and how to change a password to make them more secure. But then we can also do things in terms of whether accepting payments, the portal that you use to collate the information on the other side, whether that is actually secure. I can't go into too much detail because I'm not necessarily that technical. But as I said, we have a lot of people, not just here at the NDEC, but across the country, that who will be able to help as well.
I think that's the important thing, Alex, is that You know, you might not even know what your needs are, but if you have that initial discussion with myself and Lisa, we can then signpost you to people who will be able to kind of explain where those vulnerabilities are and what they can do to support you.
Yeah, exactly. So I can see that, Nigel, you provided your details. I did get an email from you yesterday, so I will follow that up. I will involve the likes of Holly and Lisa on that as well. So Nigel is from the College of Cambria in North Wales and was looking at ways in which we could do some collaboration work in in the
Yeah,
future.
that's fab, because I know that you're already involved with the Cyber First stuff as well, so it'd be great to join it all up.
Brilliant. So I think from our perspective, there's nothing else that we wanted to add. As I said, I've laboured the point about how we can help businesses as much as possible, and it's up to you now to reach out and see what we can do. Is there anything else to add from either you, Holly, or Lisa? No, I think from our point then we'll close it there. Thank you very much for joining, and hopefully speak to some of you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Emerging Tech Fest. Join us again on our virtual live sessions or watch us on playback anytime, anywhere.